Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. We're going to talk about the haunting.
Yes, apologies for the terrible angle in this thing.
No, I wanted to do it like, you know, like you always see like on those old like English ones, like, oh, like I'd be like, have a pipe, this will be important later, and turn around in my smoking jacket, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. Welcome to my library, I have a tale for you tonight.
We were in Canada recently, and we had deep-fried bacon.
She had deep fried bacon.
You had a bit.
I had a bite. It had nothing to do with anything. So what are we talking about?
We're talking about this film, Borley Rectory.
Where did... That was fantastic.
It's a computer. Okay.
Where did you get this film?
This has quite a backstory. Okay. On Belfast Pride, we went up to hang out and stuff like that, and we saw the parade, and then randomly ran into a fan of the show, and so we hung out with him for the afternoon. If you're watching this, hi!
Hello, friend.
Yep. But after we split up, we went to this charity shop where my sister works, and as per usual, I had a look at the DVDs, and I found a couple of interesting ones, including like this feature-length documentary on Philip Glass with the director of Shine and stuff like that, you know, because I love the Glass. But I also found this.
And she was like, the thing, and I was like, that's great. I said, look on Twitter.
Ooh, I've long wanted to see a film, you know, a decent film based on Borley Rectory. I've seen several films, and they've all been terrible. And this one stars Julian Sands and Reece Shearsmith. This interests me, so I bought it.
And then, when we were at Costa, or we weren't at Costa, we were at Cafe Nero.
We were at a coffee place, shop. And I was looking through my haul of DVDs being all, ooh.
I was looking at Twitter.
So I also bought a finished superhero movie, and we were all having a laugh at that. But then, I looked inside. Observe. And there was a thing.
Postcard.
It's a postcard inside, greetings from Borley Rectory, and
on the back, and like,
Marianne, please help get like it's a recreation of stuff that happened in the actual event, you know, story, because it's a documentary. Technically, it's sort of like imagine a documentary about a real life haunting, done in the style of Manborg. But Manborg attempting to recreate the 1920s.
It's not about the killings. It's about the rectory.
Yes. The style is fascinating. But anyway, you got that. Then I noticed that it's numbered. Not only that, Reece Shearsmith, my favourite member of the League of Gentlemen, has signed this. So I was like, holy fuck, is this like a Kickstarter type thing? And then I did some investigating. This film is not out on DVD until late October.
Exclusive!
So someone either didn't get their copy and someone else put this into the charity shop, or someone got backed it on Kickstarter, watched it, didn't like it, and put it in for the charity shop.
But it's ours now.
Yep, exclusive limited signed edition. So,
it's probably the only review of this from... Okay, maybe...
This may well be the first vlog review of it.
Is there an embargo? I guess there wouldn't be, would there?
Well, if there's an embargo, I didn't sign anything. I bought a copy of it in a charity shop. It's not my fault. So yeah, this is probably the single best, definitely weirdest find I've had in film for a long time.
And that's true because my sister-in-law actually has a box called Too Offensive to Sell. And
This wasn't in that box.
No, but you said it's the strangest find, and I was thinking of
a film.
The Gollywog books and like all the other.
Well, yeah, I'm saying about find for me and
what was the one about the demonic Irish or something?
Yeah, that was one of the books that's in there.
Too Offensive to Sell.
But yeah, that charity shop has a big box. But you know, I was talking about find in my thing because you know I look for DVDs. You know, I'm obsessively trying to find interesting ones.
I know.
And it's like this one, you know, a couple of quid in a charity shop.
They fill up our dresser to the point where like. I went to put a polo shirt on today because it was rather warm, and all of my polo shirts like have wrinkles at like the exact same length because like of all the DVDs that press up against them. I mean, I ain't saying I'm just saying.
That's my pile of films to review. They have to go somewhere.
YouTube's on my side.
Anyway, Borley Rectory. Borley Rectory. I've never read any full books on the subject. I know. You know the.
It's a real place.
I have the Cliff Notes version. Which I've known about for years, and I've been vaguely interested in it. Basically, it's the 1920s/30s, and you got a haunting in a rectory in England in a place called Borley. And at the time, it was quite...
Sweets.
Okay.
No, because barley sweets, or that's a thing.
There's barley sugars.
Oh, never mind.
Borley sugars.
Or boiled sweets. Borley sweets. I'm saying English things.
At the time, this was really sort of explosive as a, ooh, look at this ghost and shit. It's one of the grandfathers of, real-life horror, or real-life ghost stories and stuff like that, and it inspired a lot of like ghost fiction, at least partially, like stuff. The original book, that The Haunting of Hill House, was was inspired by a bunch of other things. It's kind of like one of the John Carters of hauntings.
In Your Woman, Lorraine something or other.
What?
Annabelle. Lorraine something.
Oh, those ones.
Yeah.
The
ghost hunters.
The Conjuring people.
Yeah.
Would like to say that the ghost hunter in this, Harry Price, I'd love to see a heavily fictionalized version of him get his own haunting, Conjuring type series of just him going into places and having ridiculous adventures that didn't actually happen, just like the Conjuring movies, because that would be fucking hilarious. Anyway, so this is technically a documentary. It's like recreations of the haunting versions of events. This sort of thing happened, but it's all done in green screens, probably with a very small budget.
But yet managed to look better than Sky Captain: The World of Tomorrow. Ooh.
Sky Captain is a good parallel with how it looks, because they're going for
I thought it looked better.
They're going for... Sky Captain went for a Max Fleischer thing. This one is going for a old photographs type thing, because the only real images we have of Borley Rectory are photographs, because it burned down, decades and decades and decades and decades ago.
Like the 1940s, so.
Yeah, so they use these photographs to create the look for the film, and they have people, and they CGI a bunch of stuff that fit in with the look of the photographs, and then they put the people in the green screen stuff.
Like, you can tell it's HD with a filter over, trying to make it look old-timey, but it's good. It's good After Effects. Good job. Good ass team.
Another thing to compare it to is the H.P. Lovecraft movies done by the H.P. Lovecraft Society. The Call of Cthulhu and the... What was the other one?
Don't know.
The one with the Migo. The Whisper in Darkness.
Oh.
So those two... If you know those films, think of that sort of area, that's kind of what it looks like. Anyway, there's all sorts of events, and there's events happening over decades and decades, and then Harry Price gets involved, and then there's
a really great drinking game you can play. Anytime someone takes a pipe and puts it in their mouth, take a shot.
Yeah, there's a lot of pipe work. And I have a theory. You could put footage of this up online and be all like, excited men suck pipes for hours.
They can't keep it out of their mouths.
My feeling about why this is that since it's filmed on a green screen, so there's very little stuff for the actors to interact with, and quite often they're by themselves. So they gave the guys pipes to look more period authentic. So they're constantly fidgeting with them, because actors love props they can fidget with. Give them a prop and they're really, really happy. Actors are simple creatures.
If you're an actor, write the show.
They're simple creatures. You give them a small item when they're on camera, they're delighted for days. They prefer that over lines.
You make it sound like if you jangle keys in front of them, they'll chase them off into the sea.
No, you have to give them the keys to play with, and be all play with them, and they're like, oh, look at this, I'm doing this in the scene while doing my lines.
What if you gave all actors fidget spinners? Would you never see them again?
Only if they were doing only if they're doing it on camera.
If you're an actor on the spectrum, write the show.
Only if they're doing it on camera.
I see.
I'm sorry, I'm exhausted, and I'm pretty sure I'm sick.
I've had 2 beers. It wasn't my fault she bought them for me. There's a third one on the counter.
So, anyway, the film is, I would say it's a noble failure.
I don't think it's a failure. It's very obviously a labor of love, and it succeeded in exactly what it said in the tin.
It is. It's very experimental, and I'm pretty sure it's the guy's first film, so if it's not, I'll be surprised. But if it is, it's got the air of someone who's constructing a film from the ground up, because I got the feeling, just from watching the film, that they had a very small green screen area. So you got the people in front of the small green screen area, and then you have to film everything in this small bit. So they're having to construct these bigger scenes out of these tiny snippets of action.
Yeah, for filming in one room, those are really, really impressive. I couldn't do effects like that.
Yeah, it's like a green screen version of how we film the skits in High Gun Reviews.
Although, we have a question, and it was a very endearing question. The women in the film were all wearing very period accurate makeup and hairstyles and clothes and everything. all the men had modern facial hair.
And modern haircuts and stuff.
Like there was this one scene where like they were like investigators came and like but your man looks like he's a YouTuber, and I was like, he's looking for evidence of Sargon of Akkad. Like, don't forget to depress that like and subscribe button.
You would have
or,
thought...
like, shave, or like at least like pay your actors enough to like give them fancy
just be like, guys, don't cut your hair for like a month beforehand, and then, you know, they can mess around with it somehow. Or
my millennial goatee thinks there might be a spirit.
I mean, yeah, the most period accurate facial hair was this reverend at the very start who it was literally glued onto his face.
And he was bald, so he looked like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
But when I say it's a noble failure, what I mean is, it was fine. I enjoyed it. This is probably the best Borley Rectory film I've seen.
Yeah, but with Kickstarter stuff, like, a lot of times it's really, like, not pro, so you really can't judge Kickstarter stuff. Like,
I got the feeling most of the people who acted in this were probably friends of the director.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it doesn't... it has interesting ideas, and it's sort of, like, built the film from the ground up, but it doesn't quite work.
I thought it did.
I would love to see more stuff in this style, though. And, you know, the guy made it. I want to see him do more things, because, you know, this is an interesting sort of thing. He's clearly got an interest in fascinating little stories.
If you're behind this, I think you did a great job, and I liked it. So.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and I want to see more.
Do something else old-timey. Although, another good thing was that, like, they had, like a drawing of the nun. Like, there's a nun from, like, the 1600s, and she died. But then, like, all the images of the nun, she dresses a nun from anywhere from, like, I would say... maybe 1880 to 1890s through, like, the 1920s. We were like, listen, sister.
Yeah. We're not sure when she died. Because...
like, I died in 1667.
Because right at the end...
1937.
Because right at the end, they bring in the sad fact that the official haunting version of Borley Rectory, like all big hauntings, that's not all that's going on. There is, like, you know, bullshit going on behind the scenes, because hauntings... You know, I don't know if you realize this or not, but we don't believe in ghosts.
We don't, though.
So our...
Well, I believe in a significantly statistic squadron of ghosts. Because I can't have the lights all night because the Franklin expedition was...
Okay. But
They will, though. Because I think about the Franklin expedition a lot.
If you watch me and Robin's vlog, I think the first Conjuring movie, I go into detail on this, but, you know, I'm so much not believing in ghosts that I've seen a ghost and I don't believe in them.
No, you hallucinated.
That's what I think happened, yeah. And I think it's far more likely that I hallucinated or misunderstood what I was seeing, rather than the entirety of science needs to be rewritten. And, you know, so I'm not quite so arrogant to think that, you know, my experience overpowers all the rest of it.
I had a visual hallucination once when I was, like, not yet even 3. I was young enough that I was still in a crib, and I was kind of on the edge of sleep, and, like, my whole entire ceiling became the face of Cookie Monster, and I went, "Yah!" and came at me like that. It was very, very upsetting. But, like, you know, even to this day, like, you know, as a young child, I realized, it was probably not Cookie Monster. It was probably not a ghost. Why would a ghost be a Cookie Monster? And so I'm... visual and audio hallucinations, like, on the edge of going into or coming out of sleep are very common.
Yeah, I've had a, what do you call it, sleep paralysis. But I knew what it was because I'd read about the subject before, so I just enjoyed it. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. I can't move. Fascinating. Look in the corner. Oh, look, there's something that shouldn't... There's some sort of a monster thing in the corner. That must be the thing that happens when you're on the edge of dreaming and it's sort of intruding on your thing.
Yeah, but you also sleepwalk occasionally, and you talk a lot in your sleep.
Yeah.
I've never had sleep paralysis. To my knowledge, I've never sleepwalked, and I've never talked in my sleep.
Plus, even when I do sleep, I don't sleep.
Although I pretended to sleepwalk once when I thought my dad had run out to run an errand, like, late at night, and I heard him leave, and I went down to nick a brownie, and then, like, he came back unexpectedly because there was something that he forgot, and he was like, "What are you doing up?" And I was like, "What?" And then I ran and hugged him and said, "I had a nightmare. I had a brownie tucked into my trouser, right around the elastic belt," and then I went upstairs and ate it at like 3 in the morning. I said, "Sorry, Dad, I wasn't sleepwalking. I was stealing a brownie."
Well, I sleep so little that whenever I sleep, there must be a severely thin line between sleep and wake for me.
There is, because we'll have whole conversations. And, like, literally, like, you know the scariest thing you've ever done? Like, occasionally I will be turning over and she'll wake me up to tell me some bit of vital nonsense from a dream. And she said, "Does it bother you?" And I said, "What? Does what bother me? You're sleeping. Just go back to sleep." "Does it bother you how they stare at you through the window?" And what you don't understand is, okay, so We're on the 3rd floor. Wait, no. Ground floor.
First floor, second floor.
Floor.
Third floor in America.
We're the third story of a building.
If you're American, third. If you're British, second.
Yeah. So our bedroom window is one of the big long windows like that, but it doesn't look out onto anything. There's like a little like kind of courtyardish area that no one uses. I think there's a. Like,
I don't even know there's a door into it.
Yeah, it's just like this area between. But the thing is that because it's one of those very low ones with a high rise, you know, we have a chest of drawers there because it's just another place to put a chest of drawers because it's of the, you know. So it's literally impossible to look out the window. But then I kind of was like looking at it, even though we have the blinds drawn all the time, and I was like, I actually think I actually woke you up and yelled at you. Like, don't say creepy shit. It's creeped me out. And I put I fall asleep with the TV on because I have all of the seasons of QI on a flash drive. And I have the TV on with the sound off, even though I sleep with the mask on in the summer. So there's literally no reason to have the television on. It's probably just wasting energy, but I do. It makes me happy. So sometimes I'll just put the TV back on at night if I woke up with a nightmare. But anyway, Borley Rectory.
Anyway, yeah, going back to the original point. Right at the end, it sort of touches on the controversies around the thing that... you know, there was people who confessed to faking it. There's a lot of accusations of fakery, that there was shit going on. Which,
there was an affair and, like, child snatching and stuff.
Yeah, there was, like, I was like, holy fuck.
And
this is Foister. What the fuck were you up to? The
child snatched, she died in, like, 1992.
Yeah, just like, what the
I was 12 then.
But, so I'm glad that the film paid lip service to the, quote-unquote, you know, real events. I'm still waiting for a good live-action adaptation of the events, but, you know, this is close enough. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, like, the woman who was the adulterer, like, the thing would write her name and call out her name, and, like, little, like, papers with her name written on it would fall, and I was like, see? They know. And it'd be like, Marianne! And I'd be like, you're a whore!
I gotta say, I want a movie about her life because, you know, based on what they wrote at the end about her, it's like, holy fuck.
She baby snatched. They were like, it says, she faked a pregnancy and then, quote, procured a child. Whose child was this?
Yeah, it was when she was with a GI, then they moved to the United States and she raised the kid.
She, like, died in Utah and, like...
And then, but before that, you know, she was married to, like, one of the priests in the rectory, and then she bigamously married another guy.
They said, they made the point that, like, he was old enough to be her father, and then so she runs off with this other guy, and they're living in a nearby town, and then the rector, he has really bad arthritis, he collapses, so he can't be, like, a rector anymore, so he goes to live with them because he'll be destitute if he doesn't, and then pretends to be her father.
And then he dies, and then her second husband, bigamous husband, finds out about this, and he leaves her.
Oh, he's committed to an asylum because of a breakdown.
Okay, yeah. And then she ends up with this GI, and I'm like, holy fuck, I want a movie about her.
She's known as the widow of Borley. She died in the 90s.
So,
at the age of 93.
Anyway.
Victorian things are always more terrifying than they seem because we think that the past happened in black and white.
But it didn't. I'm shocked.
No. But no, like, so I thought that you paid what, £3 for it?
£2.
£2. That was very worth it, and unfortunately we didn't know about the Kickstarter, but guys did a great job.
Yeah.
And we hope to see more out of you, and I'm glad it was a success.
Yeah, and I really hope that we haven't fucked up any embargo or anything, but, you know, I didn't sign anything.
But there's no spoilers, though, because it's historical things, so it's not like, you know, we're like, spoilers, everyone's dead now.
I didn't sign anything. I don't know how it ended up in the charity shop. But, you know, for patrons who are ready for Backseat Critiques, I do have some more to do.
I'm sick. I can't watch movies. I'm sick.
But it's just this one... This is not replacing another one of the Backseat Critiques. Basically, I got this and I was like, we have to watch it and do Backseat Critique because it's not often I get to, you know, watch a film months early.